Visual impairments can take different forms. They include boys and girls who have difficulty seeing the blackboard to those whose impairments are so severe that they are almost totally blind. In this program, we show what teachers can do to prevent visual impairment hindering children's learning.
All right?
There are three courses.
Here are the experiences of one teacher.
It is very important to assess children's visual. I can say that because I've seen it in my class. If I did not assess them, I could not find their problems. It is very important to assess them. I have one girl in my class who has a visual problem. The right eye does not function at all. In fact, it is the only left eye which sees well. The right eye does not function at all. Even when I was assessing her, she cannot see with the right eye. When I found this problem, I changed her position in the class. When she first came here, she placed herself at the back. After finding out that she has problems, I changed the position. Now she is in front of the class. Sometimes I bring her near the board so that she can see. But in some days I have a chart which is written the work which I want her to do with large print. Now she sees well. Then she has changed. She has improved in the class. She can ask questions. She can do something good. That means I see that she has improved a little bit, but I'm still keeping an eye on her. I have another little boy with the same problem, but his problem is different. She cannot see things which are far from him, but if the objects are near him, he sees well. Yes, the other girl has got squint eyes. Sometimes she says she sees the two things. So I think that is because of the arrangement of the eyes. Three of them, I referred them to the eye specialist. And this girl who sees with the left eye, the doctor prescribed that she has to use the glasses, but now the family seems to be poor, or I don't know what to say. There are no glasses at all. But I referred her. The doctor prescribed that, and I'm still running after the father to help the child to get the glasses.
If you suspect children have difficulty in seeing, make sure they sit at the front of the class so that they can see the blackboard. Teachers should use large writing and let the child come up to the blackboard so that he can see what is written.
Yes, I'm suffering. I have a problem for my eyes. I'm sitting near the chalkboard.
Why that?
Because my eyes is be suffering when I am sitting back to the chalkboard, because the light is be longer, and my madam is writing a big letters when I see the chalkboard when he's writing the math or English.
Is it correct?
Some children's eyes are sensitive to the light. If so, move them away from the window.
Oh, go ahead.
Children can also be given a peaked hat to wear that will shade their eyes, or they might use a cardboard screen for shade when reading and writing. Teachers can also prepare special teaching aids which children can read more easily. Here is an example of making large print reading books.
Me asha a dumela. Ke tsena mo di ngotsweng teng tsona tsela tse ngotsweng bukeng ena ka moholo bona halang a ko di balang ke re bona o tla bua e bala mme o thile dikobo tsa o ake ha se mo he wa ile hanta usi ke e tse le ditaba tse tshwanang le tsa letsatsi le so tshwabe le o thile dikobo tsa o.
Se mme wa batho ya salang a dinotsi ka bodutu.
Children with visual impairment also find it difficult to see lines on a page. Teachers can prepare paper with clear lines for the children to write between. Some children will benefit from using magnifying aids. Two types are available: sheet magnifiers, which enlarge a whole page, or a line magnifier, which are useful aid to reading.
Will you please come up to the blackboard and show us Maseru? Good. Malsuk. Good. Good.
With children who have more severe visual impairments, the teacher's first priority is to ensure that they can move around the school and classroom. This is known as mobility training. When guiding a person, have them hold your arm like this.
Elbow. He holds it just above my elbow, so that when we walk, he's not left behind. Because once he's left behind, he might be hurt. Okay, so please hold me, my dear. Okay, I'm sure he has hold me. We are not in the same position. I am a little bit in front. Okay, so we are going to the chocolate lesson. All right. Are you happy?
Yes, I am.
All right. What is another skill? Although I had already started teaching the visually impaired children, there were many things that I didn't know. For example, orientating my kids to the classroom. I just let them sit and I taught them. Their work was transcribed. I never gave them chance to clean the chalkboard, to feel how the chalkboard feels like. But after the training, I was equipped with many skills. I have started orientating. I have got one boy. One of them didn't come this year. So I give myself time to go to the shopping with that boy, which I never did before I went to Optim. I hope if all teachers can understand that visually impaired children are like other children and they just need our assistance. They don't need our sympathy at all, but they need us to assist them. So we can only assist them if we are equipped with those skills.
Teachers also need to take time to orientate children to the classroom so that they can find their way around the desks and chairs. Children with poor vision need to learn through touch as well as through hearing. Hence, they should be given objects to feel and a chance to experience movements as in the reading lesson.
Now, read it. Is it, what is it? Radio. Is it? Radio. So sometimes he tells the radio. Sometimes he tells the radio. Now let's continue. Now let's bend down and touch our toes without bending our knees. Our toes. Touch your toes without bending your knees. Without. Now bend, 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 bend. Now your knees here. Bend down, bend down. Up. Your toes with your fingertips. Good. Now go back to your places.
In science lessons, children's understanding of concept can be helped if they feel things such as ice and steam.
Yes, what is it? Take it, take it. Don't be afraid. What is it?
It's a solid.
It is a solid, but what is the name of this solid? Do you want me to take it out of the plastic so that you may really feel what it is? Okay, Leuham, take one. Yes, tell me, what is it? It is the ice. The ice block, right?
Yes.
Yes. Steam and tell us how you feel. How is the steam?
It's hot.
It is hot. Yes, the steam is hot because. Why is the steam hot? Why is the steam hot? Sit down here. Why is the steam hot? Monado.
Because it's boiling. Because the water is boiling.
Oh, the water is boiling.
Children can learn to read through touch using a system known as Braille. Each letter of the alphabet is depicted by a combination of dots, as these teaching aids show.
Let me show you. Do you all see it?
Yes.
So B is dot 1, 2. What is it?
In this resource center for the children with severe visual impairments, Braille is taught from an early age.
We teach them to read and write Braille. That's why we say we keep these children for 2-3 years at the center to make them, to prepare them to read and write. And that is why the integration starts at class 3. It's when we are very sure that they are fluent with reading and writing of Braille.
Likewise, children are also taught to write in Braille using a slate and a stylus like this.
Right? It's the word scrubs. When I say when you wash yourself, you scrub yourself with a stone. Scrubs. S C up. Up. R, yes. U B S.
The center has translated reading books into Braille so that the children can take part in classes in the nearby primary school.
Now spell button. D A R. Again. Now start from the beginning. B A T H R O N. Very good. Scrubs.
I am teaching them like any other children in the class. They cope well in the class, but the difference is that instead of using our ordinary writing, they use Braille. When I've prepared my lessons, I have to take some of the lessons in the resource center to transcribe. But for Sesotho, I have learned. I just correct it for myself. I can just read and write Sesotho. But for English, I am still learning. We had the workshops for special education. That is where I started learning Braille. So I'm interested in Braille because I have these children. So I want to help them. It gives me an extra work because sometimes I have to explain to them alone. And sometimes after school, I have to stay with them and explain where they didn't understand me when I'm giving the lessons with other classes, with other children. Much better if they are integrated into normal schools because they are going to cope and the other children will be able to help them as they always accept them. In this class, they always help them. When they have to go to the toilets, they just take them and go with them to the toilets. And they always play with them. But if they are alone, well, they are not going to play well. And if they are with others, they will learn more and more.
Bana ba ka mo ba nthabetse ke thabela ho dula le bona ka mo ka resource le ka mona.
When he came to school for standard 3, the children at St. Bernadette accept them. They didn't say that he is blind. He work with them like anybody, like the sighted children.
For children with hearing impairments, this is how the teacher's voice could sound for them. Listen again. Hence, it is important that teachers take steps to ensure that all children hear and understand what is said in class. This program shows you ways of doing this.
Emptied. Emptied.
All children's hearing should be assessed when they first come to school, and especially if they are slow to talk or if their speech is unclear. Some children can have a mild hearing loss, which often goes undetected by families. But this makes it harder for children to hear what is being said in class. Teachers may think the child is not paying attention, when in fact he has not heard what the teacher has said. If you suspect the child has a hearing problem, make sure they sit at the front of the class.
Green again. Green. This one. Blue.
Teachers should look at the child when talking to the class. Do not talk when writing or standing at the blackboard.
Red. Red.
Red.
Red.
Red. Colors.
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 It will also help the child to understand what you are saying if you sit face to face and talk slower.
It is green. 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 This one. Red. 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 Green. Red.
Use simple words along with gestures to help the child understand what you are saying. Children with hearing impairments learn from seeing rather than listening.
It's right. Okay, it's right. It's right. Okay. Mara usual. So right. We usual. Na iya suna yi. Jesi ha usual. Mara usual. Charlie si ha usual. Usual jesi ha. Nto yɛ na usual. Bom, eu disse usual. But you know this. Eu vejo. Nto yɛ na usual. Isso é ensinar, isso não é ensinar. É mesmo isso. E João vem de cama, mal é não João. E João. Cubi. E João. Cubi. E João.
With children who have more marked hearing impairments and who cannot talk clearly, they must be taught a sign language so that they can communicate with others.
Baby. Woman.
Schools might hold workshops for teachers to learn sign, as is happening here.
That is the way we decided. Pumpkin. You want to sign also? Pumpkin. Okay. Have you seen it? That's the way we sign pumpkin. Alright, start it. Let me show you here. Pumpkin. No, don't close your hands. Let them use them. But a bit careful. This one. Pumpkin. Excellent. That's good. That is the way we sign maize. Let me look at Francine. Yeah, that's right. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
It is also important that families as well as teachers are taught the signs.
If teachers have a problem with children with different disabilities, I normally have them to draw the IEP, meaning Individual Education Program for the children. If a teacher has helped the child to sign in case of not hearing, it means the parent has to come to school also, at least to have the basic of sign language, so that she or he is able to help the child at home.
Indeed, all the children in the class should be taught the signs, as well as the pupils with hearing impairment.
Measured, poured, you are good, Mamu. Emptied, stirred,
Later, the children can learn to group signs together to make sentences.
Let us all do it again. How to look after your kettle. Very good. Stand up. Read. Very good. Sit down.
Should give them clean water.
Good. Let us all do it. That's it. Good. Yes.
Signs are very important for children to learn, as this boy explains. When we are playing together, if he doesn't hear what we are saying, we always shake him or just touch him so that he realizes that we want to talk to him. And then sometimes, most often, we really use gestures, like when we say speak, we show it by signing, so he knows what we are saying, so he's able to understand what we want him to do. Another way of communicating with people who have hearing impairments is by finger spelling. Each letter of the alphabet is made by different hand positions.
Very, very good. This one. Z. Now, let's fingerprint A, B, C, D, E. Let's start. F is finally 3.
Once again, the whole class can learn to finger spell, even from an early age.
Let us start now. A, C, D, E, F, I, J, K, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Once children have learned to finger spell, they can start to learn to read and write.
Give them clean water when writing.
Most important that hearing impaired children learn to read and write from an early age. They will then be able to gain a better understanding of other school subjects. When help is given from an early age, most children with hearing impairment go on to lead productive lives, helping with chores around the home and school, and joining in fun and games with other children.
Satana,
Children with physical impairments have often been excluded from attending school. Often, it was not for educational reasons. Intellectually, these children can perform as well as other boys and girls. Rather, the reasons were more to do with attitudes, as this disabled activist explained.
And of Landford, which is the umbrella organization of all, organizations of the disabled. Most children are still hidden. People don't take care of them, particularly their parents, their neighbors, their relatives, and close people don't really care much about them. So I was just calling, parents that they should get them out. This is time that children should be seen, should be performing, should be going to schools. And I emphasized much on education because, as you can see, the nature of the day today is it's an educational day. So I was saying that we have to appeal to schools, to teachers, that they should open doors for us, and trying to show what obstacles are there which are hindrance to our children with disabilities. Being steps, the way the buildings have been erected is one of the problems. The attitude of teachers, it has not changed, but we have to make sure that they understand that this is now time for us to be attending school as people with disabilities.
Children with deformed limbs or facial scars as the result of burns were kept at home by families because they were ashamed to admit that their child was different. Recall what this mother said.
And
it's only recently that people knew that she had a disabled child. At first she was afraid. She thought people would laugh at her and say she's got a child with a disability. She used to be very shy. She couldn't even take out her child out of the house. All her child knew was the four walls of the room. She was always lying in, sleeping the whole day, doing nothing.
Triangle. You try any triangle you like.
Likewise, parents can be afraid to enroll in school children who have fits. This young man has epilepsy. Listen to what he says.
Ba ka batlisa sekolong hobane ka mokore ha ba sitise ho ithuta hape ha etsa le ka mehla etsa la mohlanko le mohlanko.
He says that they should send their children because this doesn't stop children to learn, because, and again, it does not occur frequently, it occurs occasionally. He says that their parents are wasting their time. They should send their children to school because he is even doing better than children who do not have epilepsy.
Ke batla ho sebetsa bo ho ruta kapa ho ba mooki.
He says he likes to be a teacher or a nurse.
And here is how his teacher copes with his fits.
When he has fits, he loses consciousness. The saliva comes out and he fell down. Sometimes he jackals, the hands are jackling, and even the feet jackals. I've taught his classmates to just leave him lying on the left side so that he should not hurt his tongue, and let the heart to pump the blood well. But because when we put him facing upwards, sometimes the tongue might come and the tongue might fall back. So I've taught them to let him lying on the left side. After the feeds, you'll find that he is very tired, he is dizzy, he needs rest. So I let him rest. If it is during the lesson, I let him rest. And when he's okay, I repeat, I help him with the work which I did with other peoples. If they were writing a test, I give him extra time so that he should also have chance to finish like other peoples. He has the medication for his feet. I wrote the letter to the person who is responsible to Mahalsuk Hospital to give him free medication because he is alone. He does not have parents. They have given him tablets which he takes them 3 times a day. So what I do myself, I have to monitor him by making sure that he has taken the tablets. He's very good. He's very good. His progress in class is very good. And I'm expecting him to get first class.
Children who have difficulty moving their bodies need help from an early age. If possible, they should be seen by a physiotherapist who will recommend exercises for the child. This could be done at home and perhaps also in school. Children who have difficulty sitting may need to have a special chair made for them. This means that they can see more of what is going on, and it is easier for them to hold objects and to learn to feed themselves.
I thought it was a good idea to have a chair so that she can sit sometimes, because it's not good for her lying the whole day, the rest of the day doing nothing. The chair was made at Ichareng. It's a center in Masianokeng where they have physically disabled persons. It was made by physically disabled persons. I arranged it to be made for Lerato, but they didn't do it exactly the way I wanted it. I said they must make something like a chair in front, a table sort of in front of the chair.
A priority for families is to get the children walking. This may mean that they use a walking aid, such as a frame of short sort made at home from bamboo or metal.
Say, children, clap your hands. Stamp your feet. Walk on the feet.
Crutches or walking sticks will also help children to walk.
What is the time? The time is 3:30. the time, class?
The time is 8:30.
And the time?
The time is 8:30.
If it proves too difficult for a child to walk, a wheelchair becomes essential. Local associations and fundraising may help families to obtain a chair.
Ke fumane mokgatlong wa dikowa ke utlwa ho thwe mme ya teng e le moo.
She got the wheelchair from Lesotho Society of Mentally Disabled Persons. It helps her a lot because now that she's got this wheelchair, she can even go places with her child, shopping, go to see her neighbors, visit her neighbors. It really helps her a lot. She even can go to church with her child now.
However, school buildings often present a problem for children who have mobility problems.
Well, it's sloppy, and there's no way we can do, because it's sloppy and it has many stairs. But we still hope that maybe in some classes we can accommodate them. Maybe we can accommodate them in some classes, because they are not all the classes with stairs. For the children who cannot walk, we can still accommodate them. What we can do is to change classes. That is, if in class 1 there is someone who cannot walk, we can change the standard 1 classroom so that it is taught in a classroom without stairs.
Another solution is for school to replace their steps with ramps. Teachers need to fully involve children with physical disability in the classroom. As far as possible, they should be expected to do the same standard of work as the other children. Likewise, children should be given the opportunity to do the same activities as others. It may take them longer to master the skills, but most are able to successfully overcome their handicaps if they keep trying.
How many kilometers, Mapizo? 40 kilometers. That's wonderful. How many kilometers, class? 40 kilometers. How many kilometers? 40 kilometers.
Sekolo mo o rata dithuto difeng haholoholo?
Ke rata maths le English.
O rata maths le English. Tseo di pasang haholo ke dife?
Ke Sesotho le English.
Ke Sesotho le English. I like mathematics in English, but I always do best in English and Sesotho. O ra tshekwana ka loto. I like to play scotch and marbles, but our marbles are made of stones. That is what we call diketwana. Many children with physical impairments are not mentally retarded. Rather, their slowness can come from a lack of stimulation at home, or from being cut off from other children, or even because of a later start in school. Hence, children with physical impairments need to join in the life of their family and community from an early age. Teachers are well placed to ensure that this happens. Intellectual impairments have various causes. The child can be genetically damaged, as is the case with Down syndrome children, like this girl. Others, the intellectual impairment can be the result of a birth injury or after a childhood illness, such as meningitis.
Good.
Likewise, a fall or injury to the head can result in brain damage, which leaves the child intellectually impaired. Some children are more impaired than others, and they have quite a severe disability. Others are much less handicapped. This is just as true when children have the same medical conditions, such as Down syndrome and cerebral palsy. These children are individuals. They are not all the same.
3, 4, 5. Happy. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hence, teachers must assess each child to find out what they can do and what they cannot do. Although their abilities will fall behind those of the other children in their class, it is important that they have the chance of coming to school.
All the peoples with disabilities, different disabilities, to come to our school, because this is the way we are improving the morale of our peoples. They know, they have built the friendship amongst them, with normal ones and with disabled ones. They are all our school peoples. Therefore, we want to have more into the school. They appreciate them. They appreciate their coming here into the school. And we too, we feel it would be lonely if they can be taken to their own school and go away from our school.
However, some parents can find it difficult to let their child go to school. I would have liked him to come to the nearby school, but one problem I have, which is mine, is I'm overprotecting him. All the time I always feel for him. Even if he wants to do something, I feel like he's hurting himself. Since he looks intelligent, I think if he goes to school, he can be able to do some other things and then maybe be self-independent or do certain skills that may help him to earn a living. Although these children are slow to learn, they can learn. In this program, we will demonstrate 5 important methods teachers can use to help their learning. First, you need to start with what the child can do. Often, this means working at much simpler level. Here is an example of a child learning about the size of objects.
La thulwana e patile ha e ska ba e pata re nka e fempele sheba re nka e bona re nka e nna e nyane bona e na e tla kwaele e o bona e nyane sheba e nyane bona ya e kwaela ha re nke e le kanang hantle mo behele motiele ake e be e feng hape e nyane bona e nyane Inyani. Ita ba e eh. Gale be fing happy he. Hari pete. Ega. Hari be him. Hari tetele hetwa.
Second, the child benefits from using real objects which they can feel and handle rather than doing paper and pencil work or listening to the teacher.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
They find that counting is difficult. I put the children in front of the class, maybe 4 children, and we count them all. After that, I help them to count individual. I use the materials, the shapes, to help them to match the colors. And I use the natural materials like stones to count or to help them to add the numbers.
Third, the child needs plenty of practice. Give them the chance to repeat the task and use praise when they are successful. Fourth, these children benefit greatly from one-to-one work with a teacher or another pupil. This provides the individual help and attention which children need to overcome their impairments. Fifth, teachers should break the learning down into small steps, gradually making the task more difficult for the child, but going back to an easier step when the child has problems. With this help, especially if given from the early age, children with intellectual impairments can learn, as this community-based rehabilitation supervisor explains.
And they had also admitted these children even prior than us visiting them. Since they started working with these children, they also felt that they need to see children with disabilities as young as preschool. So there was a nursery school started within their primary school so that stimulation of these children could be started as early as possible. And they also get to know these children much more before they could admit them in schools.
However, there are children whose handicaps are so severe that it can be difficult for school to cope with them.
We work with children with disabilities from severely handicapped to mild disability. We are not in a position to really say what type of or what degree of disability should be admitted or should not be admitted. But what we advocate for is that children should get education. as I'm saying this, I'm thinking of children who are thought to be seriously handicapped, that they cannot be educated. But those children need some form of education. They need to know how to eat. They have to have baths. They have to be toilet trained. Those things are part of education, though it might be something done outside schools, but they need some form of education.
In Lesotho, the Society for Parents of Children with Mental Handicaps have started a resource center to prepare children with severe disabilities for integration.
Of a child with mental disability, and she's epileptic too. The center started in July the 25th, 1995. When we started the center, the parents realized that these children with mental disability are doing nothing at home when the parents leave for work in the morning, and when their brothers and sisters goes to school, they are just left at home doing nothing. So the parents decided if we could have these children, gather them together in some place where they can play. It's not a school, nor is it a center. We call it a play group, where these children play together, socialize with other children, share ideas with them, and we teach them daily living activities. That's all what we are doing for them, so that they can help themselves. This place here at Amabote, it's not just a place for a play group. We've got also big boys and girls who we are preparing for vocational training. We have applied for them to go to vocational school with non-handicapped persons, and they were accepted.
These children still need help after their school days are over. This mother speaks for many.
Mashiani is 21 years old, but he cannot, I can't see him, as independent, someone who can look after himself, to earn a living. That makes me worried, because I still feel he has to be, he is developing well, but he hasn't got skills to, that maybe would assist him to get a daily bread, or there's no place where he is taken to be trained for employment, because much as his manipulative skill is poor. But I think if he has a very good memory, he doesn't forget things. If there was provision for him, which is made so that he can learn something, maybe by heart, I think that maybe could assist him to to earn a living. Or if he can be given the chance to maybe do some physical work continuously, maybe he can do something, because he still has some strengths that maybe he can load and unload things from the vents. But that is not something that we can say that is helping every time. It comes and goes. So I wish I could get something he could, he could be given the chance of the education that will prepare him for future.
There is a need to have more training centers like this one, so that young children with intellectual disability can receive vocational training.
So we have people with hearing problem, speech and hearing problem, and with polio, and with mentally handicapped. We have that 3 different types of disability here in at the center, whereby we train disabled people in leather works, carpentry, sewing, and agriculture. So the aim of this center is to train the disabled people who have not been to school, even those who have been to school.
Overcoming intellectual disability is a major challenge, but it can be done, especially when families, teachers, and services work together.